Let's look at the final part of the learning outcome: qualitative and quantitative data collection in research. Quantitative research approach has to do with trying to quantify things. How long is something? How many are there? What is the degree or the extent to which there's something? What is the prevalence of this? What is the level of that? That has to do with quantitative data collection approach. With these, we look to quantify data. So we look for numbers. So from the number, we generalize by collecting data from samples to now use that to generalize for the entire population. So since it is impossible for us to cover the entire population, for example, looking at the instance I gave earlier about looking at social vulnerability in the FCT Abuja, we can select representative neighborhoods or community across each of the local governments, because we do not have the time, we do not have the money to cover every single household in all the local government in the FCT. So we are going to have to be selective of representative communities or neighborhoods across each of the community, each of the local government in the state, and use the data collected from those to now represent social vulnerability for the entire state at the particular period of interest. So we may look to measure the incidence of various views and opinion in a chosen sample, for example, or aggregate the result. So the essential takeaway here is that quantitative look to measure and turn things into numbers. However, not everything is possible to measure in terms of number. That is where the qualitative comes in. Somebody looking at the same image you have in real life might look at the lady and say, from his own perspective, the lady is tall, and somebody else can say that is a short lady. So it is impossible to put a number to this perspective. So that is why we use qualitative approach at times to collect data. And the essence there is to gain an understanding of the underlying reasons and motivation. For example, if we mix the two methods, somebody might be looking at collecting some data in form of quantitative, and in order to understand how people come to give a certain answers, let's say how many people are in your household, or how many children do you have, they give you the numbers. Qualitative question or data collection could come in form of asking them an open-ended question. What is responsible? What do you think is responsible for the number of kids that you have in your household? And the person can give you more detailed information about what is responsible. So now we have a number of kids in the household, and we have a little bit more information about what led to that number of kids in the house. So the open-ended qualitative information helped to gain more understanding about what is happening to get the result we have from the quantitative data collection approach. So qualitative helps us to establish how people interpret their experience, the world around them, provide insights into setting of problem and generating ideas, as well as hypotheses. Remember, qualitative, quantitative, they are all good in different conditions or circumstances, depending on. So they have situations where they are useful, and they have situations where they are not so useful. But it all depends on what we're trying to do. But combining the two helps to get a very good and robust view and data about what is going on. The challenge is usually, how do you analyze qualitative data? But that is not a major issue, but it's something you should have at the back of your mind. And the approach you use will depend on what are you trying to do with your research? What are you trying to achieve?